Imagine living in a quiet suburban neighborhood where every house looks perfect. Every lawn is trimmed to the same height, and the streets shine as if nothing bad could ever happen. That's the picture everyone saw when they drove through Oakwood Meadows, but behind those fences and manicured hedges there were secrets, rivalries, and grudges waiting to explode. The story begins with Daniel, a respected district attorney who moved into the neighborhood for peace after years of long trials and court battles. He thought he had finally found a place to rest, but little did he know his biggest courtroom drama would unfold right on his front lawn. The HOA was strict, and among its board members was Karen, a woman who treated her position like a crown. She never missed a chance to scold neighbors, whether it was for leaving trash cans out for too long, planting the wrong flowers, or having visitors park on the street. Karen thrived on control, but Daniel wasn't the type to bend to unnecessary pressure. From the very beginning, she noticed he wasn't intimidated by her letters or warnings. Instead, Daniel calmly replied, citing HOA bylaws and even suggesting improvements to their outdated rules. That alone made Karen feel threatened. She wasn't just fighting over lawns, she was fighting to keep her power. Karen's irritation grew into obsession. She began watching Daniel's house, waiting for the smallest mistake. When his teenage niece visited and parked on the street overnight, Karen took photos and sent a fine notice immediately. Daniel, amused but patient, paid the small fine and continued about his work. But Karen took his calmness as arrogance. She whispered to other neighbors that Daniel thought he was above the rules, painting him as the villain. Yet behind closed doors, Karen was the one breaking rules, storing illegal fireworks in her garage, throwing loud parties, and using HOA funds for her own benefits. No one dared confront her, except Daniel. One evening during an HOA meeting, Daniel raised his voice, not in anger, but in authority. He questioned the missing funds in the annual budget and why Karen's landscaping company had been paid double the normal rate. Karen's face turned red, her composure cracking in front of the board. In her mind, Daniel wasn't just a neighbor anymore, he was an enemy. From that day on, Karen plotted to push him out of Oakwood Meadows. She began reporting false violations. His mailbox was too tall, his fence was an inch off the line, his grass wasn't green enough. Daniel documented everything, storing her letters carefully, knowing one day they might serve as evidence. But Karen was growing desperate. She wanted him gone, permanently. Then came the night that changed everything. The neighborhood was quiet until sudden flames erupted from Daniel's home. Neighbors rushed outside, screaming, pointing, calling 911. Daniel, who had been at his office late, arrived just in time to see his house engulfed. Fire trucks roared down the street, sirens blaring while smoke filled the sky. Daniel's heart sank, not for the bricks and wood, but for the memories inside. Yet as he watched, something caught his eye. In the crowd stood Karen, clutching something small in her hand, her face pale under the orange glow of the fire. A lighter. It was only for a second, but Daniel's sharp eyes didn't miss it. When the fire was finally under control, Daniel approached her. Calm, steady, he asked why she had been near his property before the fire. Karen laughed nervously, brushing him off, but her trembling hands told another story. The next morning, the police arrived, not because of the fire, but because Karen had called them. She claimed Daniel had threatened her, twisting the truth to cover her tracks. But what she didn't know was that Daniel wasn't just any homeowner. He was the district attorney. And unlike the neighbors who feared her, he knew exactly how to expose the truth. Using security footage from a neighbor's door camera, he showed investigators the moment Karen walked onto his property that night. The footage captured her lingering by his garage just minutes before the fire erupted. The lighter she held, the nervous glance she gave over her shoulder, it was all there. Karen tried to deny it, but her reputation was crumbling fast. Neighbors who once tolerated her realized how dangerous her obsession had become. They began to speak up, sharing stories of harassment, intimidation, and the misuse of HOA power. Each voice added weight to Daniel's case, and when the police finally confronted Karen with the evidence, her confidence shattered. She had underestimated Daniel, thinking he was just another neighbor to bully. But standing before her was not just a man who lost his home. It was the district attorney, a man trained to bring justice no matter how clever the lies. Karen's downfall wasn't loud. It was steady, inevitable, like watching a tower of cards collapse under its own weight. As she was escorted away, neighbors whispered, some shocked, some relieved. For the first time, the street felt lighter, as though the smoke that had clouded their lives for so long was finally lifting. Daniel, though heartbroken by the loss of his home, stood tall. He reminded the neighbors that homes could be rebuilt, but trust, once broken, was harder to restore. His words resonated deeply. The HOA board voted to remove Karen permanently, and new members stepped in with promises of fairness and transparency. Months later, Daniel's house was rebuilt, not just with bricks, but with the silent gratitude of a neighborhood freed from fear. His niece planted flowers in the front yard, neighbors brought meals, and laughter slowly replaced the echo of sirens. Oakwood Meadows was healing, and though the scars of that night remained, so did the reminder that truth, patience, and justice always shine brighter than deceit. Karen had tried to control the neighborhood, to destroy the man who dared challenge her, but in the end, she only destroyed herself. And Daniel? He didn't just win a case, he restored balance to a community. He didn't have to raise his voice, didn't have to retaliate with cruelty. All he needed was the truth and the courage to stand firm when it mattered most. That's the story of how a district attorney lost his home but won back the soul of his neighborhood, proving once again that sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought in courtrooms but on the very streets we call home. And just when Karen thought she had the upper hand, she learned the hardest lesson of all. You can't burn down justice. Justice rises, even from ashes. So remember this. When people try to tear you down, when it feels like the whole world is against you, don't lose hope. Stay strong, stay patient, and let the truth fight for you. Because in the end, the truth always wins. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of justice, resilience, and unexpected twists. Your support helps bring more of these stories to life. Don't miss the next one.